going into Tosche Station to pick up some power converters.
Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. This is Jacob. Thank you for joining me tonight. And let's break down Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 5. So, the boys are back, baby. We got almost everybody. We're just missing I think we're just missing Rex and Cody. I think we've got everybody else together. But came with a couple of difficulties, didn't it, everybody? Well, you guys know how we do it on this show. Chewie, punch it, baby. Let's get into it. All right. So we open on Omega waking up on the Marauder as we see Hunter and Wrecker welcoming her back. And she goes to check on Crosshair as we see that they're back on the island planet of Pabo. And the next thing we see is Crosshair shooting with AZ, and it's implied that Crosshair, he's got about the same accuracy as most stormtroopers do. About 53%, not very good when it comes to his standard, at least. You know, he's kind of perfect at shooting, so it's a little bit of an issue. And anyways, we see him shooting as Omega walks up and tells him, "You can't keep hiding from him. You have to talk to Hunter at some point." Then we see Crosshair notices that Hunter and Wrecker are on the ridge above him, as we see Hunter saying essentially we shouldn't have given him his rifle back. He doesn't really trust him, and that's going to be a repeated thing we're going to see throughout the episode. Wrecker trusts him, but Hunter's still very, he's still filling it out, still wondering if he can actually trust Crosshair, or if he's just going to betray him again. So next we see Echo coming into Pabo, and they have a meeting with Echo, and Omega gives him all the intel that she knows of that they got at Tantus. And he essentially says, "I mean, that's a lot of good info, kid, but we need more." And she then tells him, "Hey, I've got Nalsa's data pad, but it's got no juice. It's got no juice on it." So they actually Crosshair tells them about Barton 4, the ice planet he was on, and says we can go back there and we can get more information and get the data pad online. So they head back to Barton 4, and as they're about to, Wrecker gives Crosshair back his armor as they are now on their way to Barton 4. As they get there, Crosshair tells them about the raiders that were there, and Hunter's a little apprehensive, and they kind of get into it. Again, that's just a repeating theme in this episode. They're at odds with each other. Hunter doesn't trust him. Crosshair doesn't trust Hunter. And for all my Dragon Ball Z fans out there, I kind of felt like Crosshair is in a kind of a Vegeta-esque arc at probably like during the Namek saga. If you remember, he's not exactly a bad guy, but he's not exactly a good guy. He's kind of right in the middle, and that's what I'm seeing from Crosshair. At least that's how I'm reading it. He's kind of not a full good guy, but not a full bad guy either. So that's just my take on it. And then they go to the same bunker that Crosshair was stationed at with those clones. And while they're in there, they actually, while they're trying to get the power back on, he sees two of the clones' helmets in the dirt, in the snow, and he picks them up and mounts them and kind of honors them, which I really enjoyed seeing Crosshair have that moment to just allow himself to be vulnerable, and Hunter actually sees this, but he doesn't press the matter. And then the next shot we see is Omega gets power back to the station as Echo gets the information off of the off the data pad, and he realizes that there's a lot more prisoners on Tantus than they originally thought. And as they're about to leave, they get attacked by a giant ice worm. I know that's a big surprising thing, right? A big monster attack somebody in Star Wars. That we've never seen that before, right? So, anyways, they get attacked by this giant ice worm, and that's what they figure out is what's responsible for the perimeter markers. Those perimeter markers were actually keeping that ice worm out, and now that the power's back on, they've got to reset the power grid in the back of the bunker, while somebody else has to go back to the perimeter beacon and restart it. So so they split up. Wrecker goes to reset the grid. Omega goes to reset the defense system, and Hunter, Crosshair, Echo, and Patcher go to reset the perimeter beacon. And as they're doing this, Hunter gets attacked and falls into, like, I guess, the worm's pit or path or whatever the worm was making. It essentially looked like a giant ice cave at this point. And as this happens, Crosshair and Badger continue to the beacon with Echo covering them. Crosshair tries to fire at this ice monster a few different times, and he's continuously shaking his hand. That's still a big thing, that like I said earlier, his accuracy isn't what it is. He can't shoot anymore. His hands aren't functioning the way they're supposed to, and that's causing a lot of issues, especially in this mission. And then we see Wrecker primes the grid as Crosshair rescues Hunter right before the worm eats him, and they reengage the beacon in the defense system, thus stopping the worm and keeping it out beyond the perimeter. And the next thing we see is Crosshair and Hunter share a look of, I'm going to say, mutual respect. It looked like they both recognized what just happened, and that Crosshair saved Hunter. He could have just let him die, and that really meant something. And on their way back, Echo tells Omega that with all the data that they've got, they're getting closer. And the next thing that we see to end the episode is Crosshair and Hunter have a moment where Crosshair tells Hunter everything. Says he thought he knew what he was doing, that he made mistakes, that he was just trying to be a good soldier. That's what he thought the Empire was about. And Hunter tells him not we didn't no one knew what those early days were going to be about. And he just tells Crosshair that all we can do is keep working to be better. Oh, and something I forgot to mention at the in the first part of the breakdown, before the ice worm attacks, Crosshair tells Hunter that he killed the Imperial officer there, and that's how he got captured. How the Empire turned on him was because he turned against the Empire and killed that officer. And he also uh, tells Hunter that he knows why he doesn't trust him, because Omega escaped with him, and they kind of get into it right before the ice worm attacks. But back to what I was saying, at the very end of the episode, Crosshair and Hunter have a moment of reconciliation. Crosshair tells Hunter that he thought he knew what he was doing. He was just being a good soldier. He was just following orders, and that he made mistakes. Um, that he's done a lot of stuff. And Hunter just retorts and says, "Hey, no one knew what it was going to be like in the beginning. So it's okay. And he tells them all we can do is just keep working to be better." And yeah, that's the episode, essentially. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this episode. Seeing essentially the entire Bad Batch back together was really, really nice to see. And on top of that, it was just to me, this honestly might be one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode of the series so far. Just because after everything that's happened between these characters, Crosshair betraying them and working for the Empire all last season, to him having a face turn at the very end, getting that message out to Hunter. Uh, Now, I mean, this episode was, like I said, was just a Hunter and Crosshair episode with everybody else sprinkled in. That really drove home the fact that Hunter wasn't trusting him, couldn't trust him, and that them going on this mission, him saving Crosshair saving Hunter's life, is what gained that trust back. And it was really nice to see character growth between those two, and just getting to see them become brothers again, essentially. Um, so yeah, overall, I think this was a pretty damn good episode, if I do say so myself. And I think we're starting to run out of track when it comes to what we saw in the trailers. I think I, I said in the last episode that we were going to see Echo and Rex in tonight's episode, and I mean I was half wrong with that. We did get to see Echo. We essentially got to see the core members of the Bad Batch back together, and I think next week we might see. We're either going to see two things. We're going to see Rex um, team up with them, and that's where we see the conversation between him and Hunter, saying that uh, if he thought that after the war ended, there would be no more death for his brothers, but that's not the case. It's either we're going to see that and the mission we saw in the trailer, or we might see Ventress. I think the rest of the stuff that we've seen in the trailers, I think we're going to see that in these next two episodes. And then from there, it's just going to be uncharted stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Rex next week. I think we're probably going to get that other heist mission that we saw in the trailers, and then the week after that, episode 7, I think we're going to see them run into Ventress, and I'm not sure what the implications of Ventress are going to be. Maybe she's just in there for that one episode. Maybe she's back for uh 3 episodes, 4 episodes. Who knows? Um, maybe next week we see Fennec Shannon, Cad Bane next week. Who knows? Overall, I'm really liking now that we've got the guys back together. I think we might see a couple episodes of them just kind of getting their groove back, and that's where we run into Fennec and Cad Bane, and maybe even Ventress. But overall, I think things are about to get really interesting these next couple of weeks. So see what happens. So until next week, guys. May the force be with you.